Hey guys, welcome back to another pick a card reading. For this reading, we're going to be taking a look at what do you need to know about this person. I mostly intended this reading to be for like new connections, possibly complicated connections, or even like it could be past connections where you've disconnected from someone and you just, I guess, want to know like something about them. But yeah, so there's 5 piles to choose from, so go ahead and choose whichever card you feel most drawn to, and we'll get into your reading and see what it is you need to know about this person. Alright, pile 1, welcome to your reading. So you guys chose this Inner Child and Nightmares card. So let's take a look at like what do you need to know about your person. So there's something interesting here because I would say, for most of you, it's going to be quite literally telling you about this person. And I guess, would think it would be things you need to know about them. For some of you, I do want to put this idea out there as something to kind of keep in mind. Because I do feel like for some of you, it may be the case that this doesn't tell you directly about your person, but tells you maybe something about the way this person affects you. So it would be like still associated with this person. So one thing that I decided to do for this reading was I used a random word generator to pull 3 random words to kind of tell me something about what you need to know about this person. So the words that came out for pile 1 were the words bend, like bend as in like something that's bending, something flexible. The other word is nice, and the last word is volcano. So very interesting. I have to say that combination of words definitely makes me think that this is someone who struggles with possibly expressing anger, someone who struggles with maybe placing boundaries with people. So yeah, this could be someone who comes across as very kind, very accommodating, agreeable. But they may be doing that out of like a disrespect for themselves at times. And it does make me wonder, for some of you, it may be the case that this is more of a message for you that, if you don't really think that the person you're asking about really represents that energy, perhaps that's their effect on you, that you would be very agreeable with them, you would want to please them, but it could be kind of disrespectful to your own boundaries or yourself or your values, which over time, although someone may be presenting themselves as agreeable, flexible, okay with everything, maybe on a subconscious level, there's a bit of more negative emotions there, like resentment, bitterness, those types of things. With the word volcano coming out, it does make me think of someone who suppresses their feelings until the point where they can't anymore, and they just kind of like explode. They erupt. Very interesting. So yeah, it does make me wonder if for some of you it may actually be pointing more towards you and how this person may affect you, that you might try to please them. And it could also be this person who will do a lot to try and please you, but it may be not the best way to go about things. And it may be, it's kind of this idea of not putting yourself first in situations and then being upset that you didn't put yourself first, or that you did all this for someone else and they weren't able to do anything for you back. Or like, it does seem like maybe an unequal give and take, possibly. But yeah, so Inner Child and Nightmares, it's interesting because this card has to do with childhood trauma. So it does make me think, like, for most of you, it's this person has childhood trauma that they either need to work through or may possibly have worked through. I don't know. Let's see. So we have Pisces energy coming out. And then, let's see. Let me move these around. Okay, we have Pisces energy over here. Okay, just sorry, I need to make sure they're still in the screen. Then we also have Cancer energy with a personal issue reaches resolution. So it's very interesting, the amount of like water energy coming out, both Pisces and Cancer. And I would definitely say both Pisces and Cancer over the other water sign, which would be Scorpio, are definitely the more sort of pleasing type of energies. Like definitely Pisces energy can lack boundaries. It can want to merge with people that they're in love with or the people they like. And it could also be this idea of like self-sacrifice. And would be like not putting yourself first in relationships or situations. And then we also have Cancer energy, which I've seen this a lot within Cancers. I would even say maybe more so Cancers than Pisces. Although I haven't, to be quite honest, I haven't met that many Pisces in my life versus like I've met a lot more Cancers in my life. And I've seen it with Cancers where they want to nurture and they want to take care of someone. And then they do all that for someone else and hoping that they get the same treatment in return. And then they can easily feel very disappointed that, they're not taken care of in the same way as they're willing to do for other people. And I really do think it's a big lesson for Cancers being so nurturing and motherly to kind of give that energy to themselves just as much as they're willing to do that for other people. And it can kind of help with that energy of like not feeling resentful, not feeling bitter, those types of things. So if we're talking about this person here, they're very emotional, they're very sensitive, they want to love and they want to take care of people, but they may easily neglect themselves in that process. And I think that's where this, like, it's kind of that nice guy energy, and then feeling, upset that they didn't get the same sort of care in return, causing them to turn into this volcano that's going to erupt. It also reminds me, which, by the way, I am a Cancer, so that's why I am speaking on this. This is something I had to learn. And part of the reason why I do feel like I resonate with this energy, it does remind me of like Mars in the 12th house. Which is actually a placement that I do have, which can be very good towards like moving towards like spiritual pursuits and stuff like that. But it could also be this energy of repressing anger, not being able to express when you feel upset or angry. And in that way, it can come across as very passive aggressive. And the one thing I read about that, which I thought was interesting, that it suggested was like people with Mars in the 12th house can be incredible under like extreme pressure. They might come across as very composed and calm in those situations. So that might represent your person. But yeah, I definitely would say they're very emotional. They feel very connected. And there's this idea of like self-sacrifice, taking care of people around them, and often maybe neglecting themselves in the process, which may turn into resentment or bitterness within their relationships. And I would say that's probably important for you to know about them. And for some of you, if you don't feel like you resonate with this person acting that way, and if it resonates more with you, it may be that that's the way this person could affect you, is that you would want to please them, you'd want to nurture them, you'd want to bond with them and like merge together. But there may be this idea of like neglecting yourself and losing yourself in the process. And I think that's important for you to know, that this person may have that sort of effect on you. So let's see, we also have the High Priestess. So that's more Cancer energy, actually. I'm sorry, okay, hold on. We'll just stack cards. I never want to do that, but we'll just do that. Okay, so we have the High Priestess, we have Strength. Oh, yeah, this was interesting because I will say this pile, like, definitely surprised me, the tarot that you got, because it's all major arcana. You have the Hierophant. So yeah, we have Cancer energy, Leo, and Taurus. So yeah, definitely. So one thing that I always talk about, and I really do believe this because I feel like I've noticed this within people. Like you can definitely, no matter where you come from, you can definitely like enhance your intuitive abilities and those types of things. Definitely with Pisces and Cancer coming out along with childhood trauma and the High Priestess, this person has a deep awareness. And one thing that I do talk about is oftentimes when people have deep childhood trauma, especially if they've grown up in abusive households, neglectful households, having neurotic sort of parents, it's very important for those kids to pay attention to the emotional states of people around them, and they're very tuned in. So yeah, I would say like maybe this person had a very difficult childhood. While it was very challenging for them to go through, it also brought them a deep awareness. And I would even say it definitely makes me think with strength in the Hierophant card that for a lot of you, it's like this person has actually worked through a lot of those types of traumas that they've been through in childhood. Like the Hierophant is spiritual lessons. There's a deep awareness. So this person is very aware, very wise, learns a lot through their challenging experiences. And yeah, this person could be extremely intuitive. Um, and this, again, this could also be talking about you if you feel like you resonate more with these sort of either passive aggressive tendencies or being, unfortunately, sometimes being a people pleaser. Like perhaps, like, for some of you, if you feel like you resonate with that on some level and it's difficult, I feel like this reading is coming through to assure you that although this person may have that sort of effect on you, it might teach you a lot about yourself and kind of give you a very deep awareness and also a sort of inner strength. I would say it's like if you do struggle with having, creating boundaries and connections, it's difficult for you to say no, and it's like you really want to please this person. This person may indirectly teach you how to have stronger boundaries in relationships, to have a stronger sense of independence within relationships, to also have this sort of inner strength to not be swayed by external like influences. So like, if you for example, it's like you don't want to disappoint someone by telling them no, so you would rather sacrifice what you had planned that evening to go help someone else because you would rather help them and help them feel better rather than this horrible disappointing them sort of energy. And there might be, a strength that develops where you're okay with disappointing people if it means, staying committed to your original goals and knowing that they'll overcome that feeling. They'll be okay. They'll get through that disappointment. And sometimes we have to disappoint other people. It just happens at times. So yeah, I don't know why I feel like this is more somehow about you, but that may definitely not be true for a lot of people who chose this reading, because I do kind of have this idea. I would say it depends on where you're at. If you've just gotten into spirituality, I would assume you're discovering a lot that you might need to heal within yourself. If you've been in this game for quite a while, you probably know about all these things, and that's not really the message that applies to you. It's more about the person you're dealing with, and things that they struggle with. And I would say it's like this person has a lot of potential towards success and overcoming whatever issues that they've had. Like we have a personal issue reaches resolution. This person looks towards solutions for their problems. And with the major arcana coming out in their tarot, I feel quite confident that this person is quite a powerful person and will probably overcome these challenges if they haven't already. Yeah, and I mean, if this is about a specific connection in your life and this is someone you really care about and you really like them, it could be suggesting with strength in the Hierophant that there's a level of like commitment with this person. Like this person's loyal, this person's committed, this person sees like long term, like longevity in your connection. Yeah, and I would say this is a very positive energy actually. Um, Yeah, definitely with the amount of watery energy coming through, showing intuition and my own sort of connection to childhood trauma, kind of creating a very intuitive child out of need of safety, unfortunately. But it is a skill that those children develop very early on, and it seems kind of natural for them. So I would say this person is very naturally, like, very in tune with energies around them, especially subtle energies. It could be that this person notices very quickly when emotions in others change, even if it's not obvious to other people. So that might be something you need to know about them. And that could be a nice thing because it might mean that, you don't always have to explicitly tell this person, how you're feeling for them to just get you. They might just already know because they've experienced it themselves, they've seen it. They're very observant, very aware. This person may also be a bit of a quieter person, especially if you don't know this person too well. If they seem like a quiet person, it could take them some time to open up because Leo energy and the strength card, I would say like this person might have a side to them that loves to have fun and loves to play around and laugh, and they might be quite funny and entertaining to be around once you get to know them. But yeah, I would say that's about all I have for you, Pile One, as far as like what you need to know about this person. So thank you for watching. I hope that, it gave you some insight, that it was helpful. And thank you for watching. And I'd love to have you back in the next reading. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next pile. Bye. Alright, pile 2. Welcome to your reading. So you guys chose this card here, Karma and Vulnerability. So I think what I'll do is I'll lay out your cards and then we'll get into the messages. So it's what you need to know about this person. So let's see. We have Virgo energy, and we have nothing is yet set in stone. Mutable moon. I believe Virgo is a mutable sign, right? Yeah, Taurus is fixed. Capricorn is cardinal, yeah. So we have mutable energy here. Interesting. Okay, and then we also have the King of Wands. It does, especially since I'm thinking of mutable signs. Maybe Sagittarius is relevant for some people. We have the Two of Wands. Oh gosh, okay, hold on. And then we have the Ace of Cups. So, okay. Now another thing I did with this reading, this is how I started the reading. I was curious, so I did a random word generator to kind of give me like 3 words that, give me something about what you guys need to know about this person. So for pile 2, the words that you have are fearful, smooth, and ablaze. So that's really interesting, actually, considering the wands energy coming through. I do feel like one thing you might need to know about this person is that they can be very passionate, and maybe it's like they can have a tendency to really act on their passions. With Virgo energy, what you could need to know about this person, Virgo can kind of talk about this idea of control. So maybe it's like they have, kind of a really sort of, I guess, good control over themselves. it's possible this person can be quite hard on themselves. Virgo energy can have a tendency to want to be like have struggle with like perfectionism, wanting things to be perfect. That's why I also kind of associate it with control, because it could be this idea of wanting things organized a specific way. So yeah, maybe they have those sorts of tendencies. I would say like maybe definitely they could be kind of overly critical of either themselves or other people as well. So you might see this person as a bit judgmental. Um, so let's get into karma and vulnerability. So that card has to do with guilt. And it says this card embodies the weight of guilt and shame, often experienced when past actions are revisited with a new awareness of their impact. It reflects a it reflects a sensitive state where empathy, both for oneself and others, can be the first step toward understanding and growth. This card suggests the importance of facing these emotions openly to transform them into valuable life lessons, fostering deeper compassion in oneself and the world. Now, in the reverse position, this card may indicate a lack of accountability, using the individual to acknowledge where guilt or remorse is warranted. Alternatively, it can signify someone feeling guilt over an action that affected the seeker, hinting at unresolved issues and a need for potential healing or understanding. So, I think what could be clear about this reading, as far as like what you need to know about this person, is that they may be reflecting on past actions and feeling a sense of guilt. Whether this person is willing to take accountability for those actions or not, I think depends on the viewer and your situation. For some of you, maybe this person struggles with, taking accountability for their actions. It could be that for some of you, this person is starting to take accountability for their actions and feeling more, either feeling more aware of how their actions have impacted either a situation or maybe you, and feeling more, this feeling of remorse, or like feeling more empathetic about the way their actions have affected others. Really, what I get from this reading to be quite honest, when I shuffled out this reading originally, it made me think of a lot of different sort of messages that someone might need to hear about this person, and I felt a little bad about it because it felt like this reading out of all the other readings felt the most all over the place. Like the other readings felt like it had a more clear message. For some of you, I got this sense that what you might need to know about this person, especially if this is like a love connection where things seem to be moving forward or seem to be moving in a certain direction, but then things suddenly, like we have this like nothing is yet set in stone, mutable moon. So it does make me think that something about this connection doesn't feel like it's moving in a clear direction, and it may cause confusion as to whether, what this person wants or something like that. It does make me think that for some of you, this, like we have this Ace of Cups, which is this like new connection, maybe like new sort of feelings budding within a connection. A lot of passion with the wands coming through. So I would say like maybe it's like there's a message coming through that this person had a lot of passion towards you when they met you. I do get the sense that for some reason this person may have insecurities with Virgo. Like they may kind of feel that they're flawed, or that they need to improve themselves in some way, or like it's never enough or something like that. They're maybe always struggling with some sort of insecurity or something like that. What it makes me think is like maybe for some of you, and this won't be for everyone, so keep that in mind, but for some of you, it could be this idea that this person really enjoyed your attraction to them. Like, especially if you resonate with like it was very easy for you to compliment this person, to flatter them. It's like they really liked that sort of attention, and it like kind of made them feel like definitely better about themselves. If this person struggles with a lot of insecurities, it could be that like someone having a crush on them, someone giving them that sort of attention made them feel more confident than they usually do. And they were really like sort of attracted to that sort of attention that they were getting. And that's why I feel like there's this idea of guilt coming through and like nothing is yet set in stone, because it makes me feel like it's possible for some of you this person was leading you on in a way because they were so like it's like this idea of really enjoying the attraction, really enjoying the attention, but maybe on some level they knew that they weren't able to commit or something like that. And that's why we have this nothing is yet set in stone energy. It's like you don't really know what you're getting with this person, and it's possible that they are aware that they misleaded you or something like that, and that's where this guilt is coming in, where they're like, oh, okay, although it felt good for me, I probably should have been more considerate of how it would affect them if, like they weren't being clear with you or something like that. So if you resonate with that situation, like what you need to know about them is that they do feel guilty for doing that. That they just weren't really, they didn't know what to do. They weren't decided yet, but they were just enjoying the moment anyways. And they realize now that that was maybe not the best way to go about the connection with you. They're feeling guilt about it. For some of you, again, they may not be willing to accept accountability for their actions, and they may be making excuses, and they might be just kind of a shitty person, to be quite honest, for some of you. That is the original feeling that I was getting from this reading, but I would say, based off of the cards that we're looking at here, what you need to know about this person, especially if this is a new connection, that there is this level of they don't know what they want. Like, there's nothing set in stone. They're not certain about anything, especially with the Two of Wands coming out. It's this idea of like a little bit of like planning something out, planning where you're going to be going. Kind of, there is this like idea of reflection, like what have I done and where has that got me, and do I like where I am right now? And so if I don't like where I am right now, what do I need to change in order to create like a different future? So yeah, for some of you, what you might need to know about this person is whatever maybe they could have taken an action that created something that was undesirable for them. And now they're reflecting on why those actions created such an outcome and what they can do to kind of change it. And that sort of nothing is yet set in stone is them saying like, no, I still see a way forward, or I still see hope in the future or something like that. But there's this idea of needing to change something in order to get there. And I really do think it has something to do with the way they take action, considering the King of Wands is there. It could also be that, like, yeah, what you need to know about this person is they do want a relationship with you, especially if this is a newer person. That, like, with the King of Wands, that they're very attracted to you. But yeah, there may be a level of insecurity within them, or like this idea of like needing to be perfect or something, which causes them to maybe, I don't know, in some way like make the wrong choices. Like, it's instead of like letting things just be what they are, they may feel the need to control things too much, and that might actually backfire on them in some way. Yeah, I would say for most of you, it's this idea that they're very attracted to you on some level. They want to take action in the connection, and they're hoping that it creates the outcome that they're desiring. Which I would say, sitting next to the Ace of Cups might be this like new connection with you. Because yeah, they see potential, but I feel like they're thinking about something that they've done that they feel like was not the right choice, or they feel guilt about some sort of action that they took in the past, and they're doing some sort of reflection on that. So that's your reading, pile two. I hope that it made sense for your situation. It gave you some insight into your person. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you back in the next reading. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next pile. Bye. Pile 3, welcome to your reading. So you guys chose the Temptation and Agony card here. So let's see, what do you need to know about this person? So the first thing that I did with this reading was I was curious, so I did a random number generator to pull up like 3 words that, I would like could tell me something about your person. So the words that you got were the word horn, like horns on a goat, something like that, or like on a deer or something like that. Or I guess it could be like a horn, like a your car horn or something like that. I didn't actually think of it that way. We also have the word heavy, and then we have the word box. So overall, these words together make me think okay, sorry. I paused the video because I was considering whether I wanted to go back to pile 3 or not, because I felt like I didn't go too deeply into their their like random words that they got. But when I thought about it, I think maybe it's okay that way. Maybe they didn't need like, I feel like I explained things well enough. So sorry about that. Yeah, so you have the word horn, heavy, and box for your what you need to know about this person. So overall, what it makes me think of is like obviously horn, and I told you it made me think of like the horns of an animal. So it does make me think of like perhaps like Taurus energy specifically, like the horns of a bull or something like that. And I feel like it does kind of fit in with the rest of the words, like this idea of maybe stubbornness that this person has, a sort of limited like mindset maybe because of this idea of like heavy. So it makes me think like if you tried to push them, they wouldn't budge. So it's like yeah, someone who's not, kind of stubborn, unwilling to change or unwilling to be flexible. Someone maybe kind of difficult to work with on some level. And then we have the word box, which like, they say think outside the box because the box is quite limited. Doesn't, allow room for much else besides what's inside the box. So it does make me think that this person on some level is like very stubborn, not very open, kind of limited in their way of thinking. So yeah, I would say like those are definitely things that you might need to know about someone, and maybe for some of you, you've already experienced that type of energy with this person. It also makes me think with horn and box, to be quite honest, like it's 1 letter away from the word horny, and box, if you know about that, is like can be a sexual term. So it does make me think for some of you, I don't know, maybe you need to know that this person can be quite sexual or maybe highly sexual or something like that. So yeah, that's basically where we're starting as far as like what you're needing to know about this person. Like I would say definitely they're stubborn. They may, not be able to break out of certain problems because of this sort of limited mindset they have. So let's see. All right, so we have Leo energy. And, oh my gosh, okay, this was funny because, I was taking a look at your cards with your words. And this Temptations and Agony has to do with self-sabotage. So yeah, this person may definitely have a tendency to self-sabotage, maybe due to stubbornness. And then I also thought maybe pride with Leo coming out. And would you guess what card came out next? It was Don't Let Pride Get in Your Way, full moon in Leo. So Leo energy is definitely strong in this reading, which does make me think, like, again, well, Leo is a fixed sign, so is Taurus, which what I was thinking with the word horn. So yeah, and the fixed signs can tend to be a bit more stubborn. They can also be quite stable too. So like, this person could have a lot of stability, but they could also be quite stubborn, and maybe due to stubbornness and pride, they may have a tendency to self-sabotage. It does feel like for some reason this person feels quite trapped as a person, and they're not necessarily the best at breaking free from restrictions, yeah, especially like their own restrictions that they've placed on themselves. So yeah, we have Don't Let Pride Get in Your Way, and we have Leo energy. And let's see, so we have the Eight of Wands. We have the Four of Wands. And we have the Nine of Wands. So yeah, I think it was the last pile that also had quite a bit of fiery energy. But yeah, we have all wands here. So definitely fire seems to be quite strong. And I would say, like, usually with fire, I think of like passion, excitement. Definitely with the Eight of Wands, there's this idea of like excitement. So I do feel like it's interesting, actually. It makes me wonder if this person does have a tendency to be quite impulsive at times with the Eight of Wands. And like maybe that sort of impulsivity, like, it, to be quite honest with you, it doesn't feel like this person always thinks about their actions, um, either before they take the action or even after they take the action. There may not be a whole lot of reflection. It's just kind of go, let's just do it. And it, like, because I associate that sort of energy with self-sabotage, sometimes acting too quickly without thinking first. It also gives me this sense that this person may struggle with, along with this idea of like, don't let pride get in your way. Like, if this was like a relationship or something like that, with this idea of self-sabotage, like, it would be this idea that, like, they have something in mind of the way they think you should maybe communicate with them. Like, maybe it's like, to give a like a sort of example or scenario, which obviously it's like probably not the case for most of you, but just to give an idea of the energy, is like they're waiting for you to interact with them, like respond to them or something like it. And they've had this idea in their head of how they think you should respond. And it, if you responded that way, they'd be so happy and stuff like that. But perhaps you respond in a way that they weren't expecting. And because you didn't respond in the way that they were expecting, they think like, oh, well, that means that you don't like them in the same way that they thought, or that means this. And it's this like sort of limiting sort of belief that creeps in, and because it wasn't the way they were expecting, they deem it as bad or something like that, or they reject you because of a perceived rejection or something like that, and that's not even like what was actually, intended to be, or something like that. um Yeah, like, this feels like someone who possibly very much likes you and is excited about you. It feels like you two, on some level, are like really good together, but they may act impulsively that works against them. It could also be, again, this sort of high expectations for what you should be like, and anytime you don't fit into that box, like, it's, they feel the need to like reject it because they feel rejected or something like that. And then that creates an outcome that is not what they're wanting, which might, it's like this person may push you away. And I would say it's like they may not even realize that they're doing it. So let's take a look at temptation and agony. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so it's associated with self-sabotage. It says this card highlights patterns of self-sabotage where temptation pulls the seeker towards choices that may lead to unnecessary disharmony or pain. It reflects a tendency to engage in actions or thought patterns that knowingly or unknowingly, and I would say for them it may fall into more like unknowingly, set the stage for setbacks or missed opportunities. This is a moment to pause and consider whether the seeker's actions align with their true intentions and growth. Yeah, so this would be like the type of person who pushes you away as a like tactic to get you to miss them or something like that. Yes, I don't know. Like this person doesn't understand how their actions create specific outcomes. And they may be aware on some level that like what they're doing isn't working. But yeah, I don't know, with this pride energy, it could be that this person doesn't really, reflect too much on how their actions like created specific outcomes or created setbacks, or they've self-sabotaged due to stubbornness or pride, high expectations potentially, or like trying to get specific reactions out of you that might be kind of like toxic, and it's like they don't really fully understand what they're doing. So one thing that you would need to know about this person is there is a sense of loyalty with Leo coming through so strongly, and I would even say the Nine of Wands gives a sense of like persevering through challenges. So this person would find it difficult to let you go, even if they have a tendency to self-sabotage the connection. This Nine of Wands energy is a frustrating energy. It's like feeling like things are slow, that you're not making too much progress, but you still feel the need to continue forward. Because to be honest, the Nine of Wands is in my opinion, a much more positive card to get than the Ten of Wands, because the Nine of Wands implies that there's like results waiting at the end if you stay persistent. The Ten of Wands is this feeling of like, I've put in all this work and I haven't gotten anywhere, and it's just didn't really give me any sort of reward for all this effort. So it is possible that the message that's coming through, that although this person may be difficult, and I would say it's like it's completely up to you. If this person feels too frustrating to deal with, you're definitely like welcome to just like take a break from them, or even just walk away from the connection. But I would say it's possible that if you feel committed to this person and you see value in this person and you're like, yeah, they're frustrating, but we have a lot of good things together, especially with the Four of Wands coming out. Like, it's interesting because the Four of Wands is this idea of harmony within connections, and we kind of talked about actions that create like disharmony in connections. So I would say it's like, normally you probably feel really good around this person and you feel like the connection's pretty easy, you like each other, you get along, and then they do something stupid, maybe out of stubbornness or pride, that backfires on the connection and creates this level of like mistrust or disharmony, and it can be quite frustrating. Yeah, like it's definitely, it's interesting with the Eight of Wands. I feel like this person could kind of act impulsively, and although they understand that acting impulsively probably does self-sabotage in some way, I feel like they really struggle to like tame their own energy. There's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of energy, and like when they feel uncomfortable, they may feel the need to act on that very quickly, which may be like this idea of kind of like hurting you a little bit because they feel uncomfortable. And I mean, there could be this idea with the Nine of Wands that if you feel like the challenges with this person are not too frustrating, or you see a potential in this person still. I do feel like that does imply that if you stick with this person, and maybe it's like with the Eight of Wands, there's this idea of communication. So I would say they want to communicate with you and they do want expansion in the connection with you. They just may not understand how their actions impact negative outcome, or like cause negative outcomes, or how their actions impact the connection in negative ways. And that might be something they really struggle with. I would say if you have a connection with this person where you feel comfortable to talk about like anything with this person, I would bring these things up and try and communicate with them to kind of remove any sort of misunderstandings, or just like have very clear and honest conversations with this person. Maybe there's potential towards working through this sort of energy, because yeah, with the Nine of Wands, it's like a challenging situation. Sometimes it's a bit draining, but if you stay, if you keep going, I would say like you can reach some sort of resolution with this person. And you can have that sort of harmonious connection with this person. So that's what I have for you, pile 3. I hope it resonated with you, gave you some, level of clarity. And I'm wishing you the best with this person. But thank you for watching. Love to have you back in the next reading. But I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next pile. Bye. Pile 4, welcome to your reading. So you guys chose this Agony and Confusion card. If you watched one of my previous readings, and excuse me while I use this deck in like all of my readings right now, because it's a new deck and I really like it. Specifically this card. Kind of strange to me because I don't feel like I would normally be drawn to a card that looks like this, but for some reason this card, like, I'm so drawn to this card, like the way it looks. So yeah, we have Agony and Confusion. We're gonna figure out what you need to know about the person that's on your mind. So the first thing that I did with this reading was I was curious. I wanted to use a random word generator to pull 3 words to kind of help me figure out what you need to know about your person. So your words. Oh, I liked your... Okay. No, this makes so much sense because I love your card and I feel like I love this energy, actually. I feel like your person's really cute. So your words that you got were miniature, road, and decorate. Yeah, so I would say it's like maybe something you need to know about your person. Like, definitely miniature makes me think like, and I like these things. I like any, and I just added this little miniature plant to my candle here. I like little miniature things. How many of you do too? I think they're so cute. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like this person might like little cute things, little trinkets or something. Maybe they collect little things. I don't know, but it also makes me think of like someone who finds joy in small things. Like, it doesn't take a lot for them to feel happy or excited, or like they like things. They want to like things. With decorate, it also makes me think of someone who's quite creative, artistic. They have an eye for beauty. So yeah, I would say, sorry, I'm like pulling on cords and being a little too... So this is the second reading I'm recording right now, and I pretty much only ever do one at a time, so my legs are like hurting and I'm like antsy. I feel like I need to move around a lot. Okay, sorry. So yeah, I would say this person, also with the word road coming up, it feels like this person has like a sense of direction. Like they know what lights them up, they know what makes them happy, and they know where they're going. This feels like someone who's kind of maybe at times lost in their own world. Maybe they seem kind of spacey at times, something like that. But yeah, let's take a look at your cards. Yeah, so you have the Sun. And yeah, okay, this is funny. Yeah, prosperity lies ahead. So this card came out in one of my readings recently, and I really liked that reading, although it may not have been like the most positive Oh, it's actually so interesting because it might actually connect to this reading. So, the other reading I did with this card specifically was this idea, and I got the same sense with this reading that for some of you, you may be asking about someone who's not in your life anymore, like they've left your life, they've moved on in some way. And it was really interesting because the reading that I did was why did they do that, or why are they acting like that? And it was I'm pretty sure it was the last pile in that reading, and it was this idea of just like waking up one day and like wanting to go towards something that you feel called towards, and being willing to like leave behind things that you felt fearful to leave behind in the past. So that's why like I really loved their energy, because it felt like someone who was finally going towards what they want out of life, which is something I always love. I always encourage that, even if that means disappointing someone else. I don't feel like it's ever the best thing to do to neglect your own happiness for other people. Um, so in some way, it seems like maybe in that reading, that person left that person's life, and that's why they're coming there. Like, why did they do that? And I also got the same sense from your reading that this might be someone that you've disconnected from, or like, it doesn't have to be like this was someone you were in a relationship within, or a relationship with. Oh my gosh. Okay. But this could be someone that just like moved away or something like that, or something, I don't know, because like there's this idea with road, like maybe this person traveled away from you, maybe they went in a different direction. Especially the agony and confusion card can be this idea of like, and especially with the sun, it's this idea of discovering your purpose and discovering what makes you, like what lights you up, like I was saying before. With the sun energy, like, yeah, what you might need to know about this person is they're quite happy. They find a lot of joy in what they do or where they're going, or even little things within their life that they just allow it to light them up energetically. The sun is also this idea of success, knowing yourself very well, and having a sense of purpose. So I feel like this is someone who has direction in their life, and we have prosperity lies ahead with new moon in Taurus. So I feel like this is someone who feels like they're destined towards something big. Potentially, this is someone who is on the road towards their happiness and their success. Yeah, so it's like, I would say it's very good. Let's see. We have the Five of Wands. Oh, yeah, okay. We have the Star. And we have Temperance. So yeah, part of the reason why I felt like maybe this is someone who's not in your life anymore is because there's all this idea of like moving towards something. So I would say it's like, why would someone need to know that someone's moving towards something if they're in their life? Like, I would say if this person's in your life, like, you would already know that they're moving towards their success or something like that. So that makes me feel like this is a distant person, someone you're no longer maybe in contact with. That may not be the case for everyone, but what you need to know about this person is they have a lot of potential towards a lot of success in life. A lot of healing as well with the star. Oh my God. I'm like, I have time off this week. I'm just going to do a bunch of readings. And like, we're almost through it. My brain's a little bit messy. Sorry about that. Yeah, but like the Star and the Temperance card both have this idea of healing, which is also why I feel like maybe this is someone that you're no longer around or something like that, because we also have the Five of Wands, which is this idea of conflict. So in general, it could be that what you need to know about this person is there was a lot of conflict in their life that they've been able to heal from. I feel like this is someone who prefers a very peaceful sort of life. They have a lot of hope for their future. This could be someone who is kind of popular, and maybe quite social. I see both like Aquarius and Sagittarius energy. being kind of like social energies. So maybe this person's social now, or that might be something you need to know about them. I would also say with the star and the temperance, even the sun, it's like this person is full of like hope and optimism and potential. This person, I feel like, has a very healthy mindset, actually. Um, And I would say somehow a message is coming through, especially if you resonate with this was someone you used to know and you've lost contact with them, or they moved away or something and you don't know about them anymore. You don't know how they're doing. I guess you would need to know that they're on the right path and they're doing well. They've healed a lot, and if you had conflict with this person, it to you it might seem like this person moved on, and they've healed from the connection and they no longer think about you. They've completely forgotten about you, something like that. They don't seem to be concerned with anything having to do with you anymore. I would say a message coming through is that even if this person seems like they've completely moved on, and I would say it's like they have, like, I think they've made peace with their past and they're okay with everything that's happened because they're more focused on where they're headed rather than maybe the past. Um, they do remember you, and on some level, they may still be a bit hurt by things that have happened with you, even if they've healed it and they've made peace with it. And I would say, like, maybe this person doesn't always reflect on the past too much in the way of like reminiscing is what I mean, because both the star and temperance being associated with Aquarius and Sagittarius, those are both very future oriented energies. Like, where can I go? What can I do next? And yeah, so I would say it's like you might get the sense from this person that they never think of past connections. They don't, like, it doesn't cross their mind in any way. And I would say that's not true, although they don't maybe have a tendency to reminisce on past connections. I would say it's like if you had in any way a challenging connection with this person and you think this person just doesn't care about anything that happened, I'd say that's not true. On some level, they do care about it, even if they're not necessarily willing to go back to the past. Um, I would say it's like they haven't forgotten you. Um, they do still think about you from time to time, type of thing. Uh, but yeah, it's like they're kind of in their own little world. They've healed a lot of things within themselves, or like they've made peace with a lot of difficulties in their life, and they're just more focused on anything that's more positive and like where they're going and a sense of direction, type of thing. But yeah, let's take a look at agony and confusion if there's anything else coming through with that. Yeah, because it says here unresolved pain. And with this sort of like very healing energy coming through, I don't think that they necessarily feel like they don't feel unhealed or anything. But and again, it's like it seems like this person has a tendency to like focus more on things that make them happy than anything else. So if the situation with you didn't make them happy, they may not be willing to really go back and relive those experiences. Although I wouldn't say that means that they don't ever think about you or they don't care about you. I would say it's just that their focus is in other directions. And at times they may kind of go back and think about past connections, and in some level that they haven't forgotten about it, and there's like an unresolved sort of pain, but like they may feel like there's nothing they can do about it. So it's just that this idea of making peace with the situation and moving on and finding healing in other ways, which I mean, I support that. Um, So I think both of these meanings will be something you need to know about this person. I would say if you resonate with this person not being a part of your life anymore, and there was some sort of conflict or something that ended your connection, or even if wasn't really a conflict but you felt conflicted about it, on their end, I would say, it says this card reflects a period of pain or unresolved hurt where confusion clouds understanding and closure remains elusive. It signifies emotional turbulence, lingering questions, and the inner struggle to find meaning or acceptance amid suffering. Here, the heart aches. Sorry. Here, the heart's ache seeks clarity, yearning to heal the unknown wounds within. So I would say if there was an ending in this connection, I would say this person felt like a lot of confusion at first, this feeling of like not getting closure. And maybe it's like this person had struggled to move on from this connection in the past. But I would say like this card also has to do with clarity beginning to surface, a path to closure, or a healing from past pain. As understanding and resolution start to take shape, this moment towards peace may encourage a release of the old grief that has been lingering. So yeah, I would say like over time they were able to heal themselves and give themselves the closure that they need. Because I've heard it a lot, and I think this makes sense, that sometimes like you could seek closure with someone and they could do their best to give you that closure, but on your end, you still don't feel like there was closure. I feel like I've heard people say that you can give yourself closure better than someone else can. And I think that, this person maybe they felt like they couldn't get closure over the situation with you, and it bothered them for quite some time, but they figured out how to give themselves that closure and really heal and move on and find their own happiness. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on with this person and where they're at, and I guess what you would need to know about them. For some of you, if this was a past connection and you saw this person as being very codependent in some way, I would say it's like they've healed a lot of that. There's this idea with Aquarius and Sagittarius loving freedom and loving their independence, and this idea of being in their own little world. I feel like they wouldn't trade that for anything. They love that space. It makes them quite happy. It makes them feel peaceful. Then this person may also be quite a spiritual person for some of you. But yeah, that's what I have for you, Pile 4. I hope that it resonated with you, that it brought you some clarity. And if this person did leave your life, I hope you're not, too mad at them, or I would hope that you're still wishing this person the best, because I would think that that's what this person would, be thinking of you, like wishing the best for you, even if there was conflict in the connection or things didn't, really turn out well or something like that. So yeah, that's your reading, Pile 4. Thank you for watching. Hope it resonated and that it was helpful. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next pile. Bye. Okay, Pile 5. Welcome to your reading. So you guys chose Inner Child and Transformation. So we're going to take a look at your cards and see what you need to know about this person. I'm going to preemptively apologize because I decided I was going to do a bunch of readings today. And by a bunch, I just mean like 2 different readings, but that's way more than I'm used to doing. So like I'm kind of losing it a little bit. But so to start with your reading, what I wanted to do for this one was use a random word generator to come up with like 3 random words that should tell me something about what you need to know about this person. So the words that you got is the word beam, like with an M, like a beam of light. We have the word close or close. I guess it would either be close or close. And then we have the word stamp. So really what I get from these words, what it makes me think of, is actually that this person feels very drawn to you. Just because, like, a little personal thing from me, the way I described falling in love for the first time was like the whole world was like gray, or everyone was gray, and then one person stuck out like a beam of light. So I kind of feel like maybe this is how this person feels about you, that you stick out like a beam of light. I would say it's like with close, like they probably want to get closer to you. They want to be close to you. Yeah, it's like for me, like the first experience of like truly falling in love and feeling that feeling, well, I would say like that was probably the moment for me to like really heal myself and like look at myself very clearly. And it was definitely a good opportunity to see things within myself that needed healing. Because there was this like relentless urge to just get closer to that person and just spend all my time with that person, and that's all that I felt was interesting to do, which is seems nice, but that is actually quite unhealthy to have that sort of energy. So it might be that this person does have that energy towards you. It is also possible. I said this in pile one. For some reason, for some of you, it may be that this. Oh shit! I'm dropping stuff. It may be. Oh my god! It's like so hard to get the card up off the floor. It may be that for some of you that this is kind of telling you more about how this person may affect you. Like if you resonate more with this idea that this person sticks out like a beam of light, everything else seems not important in comparison. Like you don't want to do anything else besides talk to this person or spend time with this person. That might be a sign of codependency within yourself, and something where this is an opportunity for you to heal that within yourself and gain more independence. Stamp makes me think of like wanting to make something official, maybe wanting to kind of like own something on some level. So yeah, it could be that this person feels that way towards you, and that's something you need to know about them. But if some of you, maybe it's like important to be very realistic. If you resonate more with that energy, that might be this person's effect on you. And it might, lean into some sort of unhealthy attachment that you might need to be aware of or pay attention to. So let's see. We have Cancer coming out. Let's see. We have communication is key. New moon in Gemini. Let's see. So we also have the Six of Swords. We have the Ten of Cups. And we have the Ten of Wands. So now something that was interesting about your reading, how one of these cards fell on the floor and I was struggling to pick it up. These are like, I really like these cards, but they're very like flimsy and thin. Like you could so easily bend these, and it makes me worried that like one day I'm gonna accidentally like bend it too much and ruin it. And so sometimes when I shuffle these cards with this deck, sometimes the shuffling gets very messy, and then it makes me feel like some of these cards were not meant to come out because I'm just shuffling so messy. So I did end up putting 2 cards back into the deck while I was shuffling out your reading, and I was paying attention to which cards came out because both of them did seem to have somewhat of a similar meaning. So first came out the Three of Swords, which is this idea of like endings, heartbreak, possibly betrayal, very negative sort of energy. Then I put that back because I was like, that's such a messy shuffle. I'm not sure if that's supposed to come out. Then the Five of Swords came out, which is this idea, in my mind, the Five of Swords is like cutting something off, being done with something. Like usually they talk about like, it could be like conflict or arguments where someone wins the argument but doesn't like really get anywhere, or they don't really get anything out of it. But the way I see the Five of Swords is like cutting something off abruptly, being done with something. And like it could be very abrupt sort of endings from my perspective and my experience. So that's interesting coming out with the Three of Swords. And then I put the Five of Swords back because that was also a messy shuffle. And I was like, I don't know. But now I'm starting to question myself because both of those energies are quite similar. Then we get the Ten of Wands, which is nicer, but it also is this energy of not really getting anything out of a situation or maybe a person. So to me, like what this is telling me is I would be careful, especially if you do resonate with this idea of being so into this person that like communication is key. All you want to do is talk to this person. All you want to do is spend time with this person. And it feels like everything else in comparison is just like not interesting. That's not healthy. That's not good. And oftentimes in relationships, that's codependency, and that will probably create a lot of pressure in a connection. Oftentimes it can push the other person away because they feel too suffocated or like there's too much expectation on them. And I really do think this message is coming through more of like, oh, you need to know how this person is going to affect you. It is possible for some of you, and I would say like, again, I kind of mentioned this in pile one. I would say people who have just started their spiritual journey may be less experienced with these types of things and maybe more prone to things like codependency and unhealthy attachments. So maybe it's like if you've just gotten into spirituality, you might resonate more with this idea of experiencing codependency and unhealthy attachment. And over time, you will work through these things and become more independent and have more healthy attachments with the people around you, and especially in love. For those of you who are more along in your spiritual journey and it's like this is not new news to you, you know about this, I would say maybe it's more likely that you're dealing with someone who, you know, struggles with this type of unhealthy attachment and codependency, and that would be something you need to be aware of. The Ten of Cups is this like big emotional fulfillment. It can be this like happy relationship card. It's like all this joy and like, again, emotional fulfillment. So I would say maybe it's like, you know, this person could be very, you know, happy about you. Almost to the point where you know, yeah, like it's this idea that everything else in comparison just sucks. And then all they can think about is just wanting to spend more time with you. Even Cancer energy, and I talked about this in pile one because Cancer energy came out in pile one and it was this idea, and it does feel kind of similar in some way to pile one's energy. And sometimes Cancer can be known for being kind of a clingy energy. So for some of you, it may be important for you to know that this person may be more clingy than you're aware of, especially because this specific Cancer card, I read it in a way that's a bit different than other Cancer energies because, well, like we have this crab guy on there, and like oftentimes like the Cancer zodiac is, you know, it's represented by the crab. Which at times, sometimes Cancers can come across as quite, you know, strong on the outside. And that may not always be how they really feel on the inside. They might be feeling quite a lot more sensitive than people realize. And they don't always like feel comfortable showing that. A lot of the times Cancer energy can be a lot more vulnerable and a lot more open towards people that they really trust and, you know, spend a lot of time with and are close with. So if this person's not close with you, you may not exactly realize how sensitive they can be, possibly how nurturing they can be or how clingy they can be, depending. Yeah, especially if this person seems to constantly want to message you or talk to you. Especially if you do, you like your independence, it might be important for you to know that over time, maybe this person does get more like maybe clingy, something like that. They get, they're more emotionally invested in you, and it's like maybe on some level it doesn't quite make sense. And I would say that's coming as a warning. You should watch out, because this person may develop like a very unhealthy attachment to you. Otherwise, again, it could be this idea that this is their effect on you. If you resonate more with that energy, that this is telling you that this person will affect you in ways where there is a development of an unhealthy attachment, where all you want to do is spend time with this person, all you want to do is talk to them. And again, it's like everything else in comparison is not interesting or not worth your time, which again is it's not healthy. It's not a good thing. Um, there may be an energy in this connection with this person. We have the Six of Swords, which is this idea of moving away from chaos into calmer waters, a more peaceful energy, overcoming conflict, or making peace with things. And I would say it's like there may be a tendency where one of you feels really happy about the connection, and it's the only thing that makes them so happy. And then the rest, like it feels like it can fall into a little bit of a chaotic energy between you two, where maybe one of you doesn't know how to handle these very strong emotions, and it turns into a more chaotic energy at times. And I would say there's this idea of forgiving each other, moving past it. And then so I guess sometimes I see the Six of Swords as being a bit of a cycle. I guess in this case more so because we have the Ten of Wands, which is this idea of putting all this effort into something to get kind of like nowhere. um, so one thing I would say, if you resonate more with the fact that this person lights you up, and it might even be a bit unhealthy, where yeah, it's hard for you to really find interest in anything else besides this person, and this person's constantly on your mind and you can't get them off your mind or something like that. If you resonate with that, what you need to know about this person is you should be very conscious of this person, like how they act and stuff like that, because it is possible that you might miss signs that this person is not on the same page or is not wanting the same things out of the connection with you. Just because the Ten of Wands is there, it's like you could put a lot of effort into this connection hoping that it will be this emotional fulfilling relationship, and that may not end up happening. Unfortunately, with the Ten of Wands, it's just doesn't yield rewards for your efforts. So it could feel like you put all your time and energy into this person, and they may not put nearly as much time and energy into you. And just because you're so attracted to them or you're so happy about them, you might ignore that and just try and create more conversation with them or try and make more interactions with them. And yeah, like kind of miss subtle cues that they are not willing to do that for you or something like that, which in the end may be disappointing. So yeah, like I'm not saying give up on this connection. I'm not saying walk away, but I'm saying don't invest so much of your time into this person, especially if they're not giving equally. Be more cautious with your energy. Hold it back a little bit more. Spend more time with yourself. It is possible, since this energy feels quite similar to pile one, that if you were drawn to pile one, you might want to watch that too. Yeah, for some of you, again, it's reversed, where that's this person's energy, where they may put in all this effort and all this energy towards trying to create this happy, fulfilling connection with you. And especially if you don't, like, if you resonate with, like, you can't really deal with someone who's going to be that clingy or that codependent and you need your space, like this, again, it's coming as a warning that this person over time may be too much for you to handle. And it's either like this person acting chaotic because they're not getting what they want out of the connection with you, and then you forgiving them and hoping it will, level out, and then they end up feeling hurt again, and then they create this chaos. And it could be, yeah, like kind of a cycle where you're not actually building towards something sustainable. So let's see, with inner child and transformation, what does that have to say? It does seem like a positive energy. Like, and we were talking about growth. So yeah, this card is associated with growth. This card signifies a profound period of personal growth rooted in connection, reconnecting with the seeker's inner child, and allowing transformative change to unfold. It highlights the courage to embrace vulnerability, to heal old wounds, and to evolve through self-discovery. This card serves as an inspiration, celebrating the blossoming of new understanding and resilience from within. So I will say, if you are the one who resonates more with, like, you can't stop thinking about this person and all you want to do is get closer to them, all you want to do is talk with them more, and you just really hope that things go well, that's not like necessarily a bad thing, but it does become a bad thing when you start neglecting other areas of your life. So I think that's coming as a warning to not do that. Don't neglect the other areas of your life. Find value in other things besides just this person. And that's kind of this journey of self-discovery, maybe even self-mastery. Although I'm not saying that that's guaranteed that this relationship will grow, especially with the Ten of Wands coming out. It does feel like there's a lot of effort put into a connection where it doesn't really lead towards much growth, unfortunately. This card also suggests stagnation or even regression, indicating that growth may be hindered or that past patterns are resurfacing. It points to a potential return to old habits or a reluctance to embrace necessary change, signaling a need to refocus on personal evolution. Yeah, I really do feel like in some way this connection will lead to a deeper self-understanding, either for yourself if you resonate more with that energy, or if you feel like this person resonates more with an unhealthy attachment. At the end of the day, at the end of the experience, it will lead towards growth within themselves and this sort of self-discovery and self-mastery, which may not be a bad thing. I would just say that, be careful of this person's emotions because they may be quite sensitive, even if you don't exactly see it at first. And again, if you're more independent, you like your space, this person could be at some point a little bit too much to handle. And I guess it just comes as like, yeah, that's what you need to know about this person. I would say take things slow with this person. Don't feel the need to rush into anything and just kind of like watch their movement. Study them a little bit. So yeah, that's what I have for you, Pile 5. I hope it resonated with you and that it's helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'd love to have you back in the next reading. That's it from me. Bye.